Hi guys, in this video we are going to learn about the lexical scoping in JavaScript. So in the next video we will be also covering about the closure in JavaScript, but in this video I will also give you a little overview of the closure as well. Why? Because lexical scoping and closure is closely related, so I think that you will get to know that how the closure works as well. So let's start with the example for lexical scoping. So for example, we have a function here, for example fun function, and this would be the definition of it, and I am gonna define another function inside of a function which would be display name, and here would be its definition. So I am gonna show an alert message here which would be like name. So where is name variable? So I am gonna declare and initialize the name variable inside the fun function. That would be something like this: let name equals to, for example, I am gonna initialize it with Muhammad. So now you can call it, let me call it from here. So then after I am gonna write here the fun function. So let me tell you what I did. Actually, you know that when you are calling a specific function, then the code inside the definition get executed. So here is the definition of fun function. So I have declared a name variable here and assigned a value Muhammad. Then after I have defined another function inside of fun function which is display name, and inside of display name I am going to use the name variable which is declared outside of this display name function. Alright, and then after I am calling that display name function from inside of this fun function. So the concept here is like we can use the variable which is outside this function but inside of the external function. So this is an internal function and this is an external function. So internal function is allowed to access the variable of external function. Alright, and also we can call the internal function from inside of an external function. So this is the concept. So if you will refresh the page, you will get the pop-up which is showing Muhammad. So that means we can access the variable which is declared outside, and if we are interested to use inside of another function, then that is possible. But one thing you also need to know about that in other languages you can never define a function inside of a function. So this is the JavaScript in which the definition of function is allowed inside of another definition. I mean fun function is defined here and we are again defining another function. So in other languages we are allowed to call a specific function from inside of a definition of another function, but can never ever define the function inside of the definition of a function. So in the JavaScript we are allowed to do so. So I think you got the basic understanding of lexical scoping. So this is called as lexical scoping, that we are actually accessing the variable of outer function inside of an inner function, and of course that is allowed. So you already know that this name variable is available in everywhere inside of this this curly brace, because this is available in this function here. For example, you're gonna console it over here, then of course that would be available here as well. So let me refresh this and you can see that Muhammad here, and here you also get the value inside the console. Alright, now let me show you the closure, that how this is related to lexical scoping. Alright, so in the closure you do the same thing, for example, and you are returning this function from here. Alright, so when you are returning a function, then you only need to write the name of the function, so that automatically returned. And if we are returning something, then you know that wherever we are calling this fun function, we need to assign that returned value. So currently we have, for example, you can call it get fun. So we are actually retrieving the returned value inside the get fun, and then after we are calling get fun function here. So you can imagine that you know that when we are calling a specific function and inside of it whatever statements we have written, so once that those are executed, then we no more able to access the things inside of that function. For example, we are returning display name from here, and you know that is assigned over here, and that again we are calling from here. So you can see that we already completed the execution of this function, but again we are calling the get fun function, which is actually the display name function. So that is going to be accessed after end of the fun function execution. So this is allowed in JavaScript. All right, so this is called as closure. So the only difference here in the closure and lexical scoping is there is no difference actually. Already this is lexical scoping, and we are just extending the concept, which is just modified and becoming the closure. So how the closure works is like we are allowed to call the specific function from outside the function. Let me show you the definition over here. So running this code has exactly the same effect as the previous example. So the init function, actually this is talking about the lexical scoping. So what different and interesting is that the display name inner function is returned from the outer function before being executed. So you can see that we are going to return this display name function before execution. We have not executed yet. We are executing fun function over here, but you can see that we are calling the function from the fun function, and these lines of statements are not going to be finished up till now, but still we are able to access at the end of this once the fun function execution is going to be finished. So at first glance it might seem unintuitive that this code still works. In some programming languages, the lexical variables within a function exist for just the duration of that function's execution. Of course, I already told you that the time of execution has been finished now. Why? Because we returned and everything get finished, but still we are able to access. So you might expect that the name variable would no longer be accessible. However, because the code still works as expected, so this is obviously not the case in JavaScript. So you can see that name variable, once you are finishing the specific function, then the variable inside of that function also destroyed. All right, but still we are able to access once we are calling this getFun function from here. So the reason is that the function in JavaScript form closures. A closure is the combination of a function and the lexical environment within which that function was declared. So actually this is talking about that closure is the combination of function and the lexical environment. So you can see that this is the function combination and this is the lexical scoping of variable. So we are actually using the variable inside of this function, and that is actually accessible from outside, or so that's why we are calling it closure. So this environment consists of a lexical variable that were in scope at the time the closure was created. I mean, when this function created, then at that time this was available here, but later we just expecting that this would not be available, but still this is available because this is in JavaScript. This case is in JavaScript. All right. So I think that you got the basic understanding of the lexical scoping and closure. So if you are still stuck with something, then let me know. I will definitely try my best to help you out. But this is super simple to know about that, how lexical scoping works and how we are extending the things with the closure concept. All right. So there is nothing more to understand. The only thing to focus on is that if we are returning a specific function and we just expect that the variable declared inside the function get destroyed, but still if we are implementing the closure concept, then this variable is still accessible inside the function which we have defined before. I mean, this display name function is defined inside the fun function. So that's why we are able to access the variable of the fun function inside of this at the time when we finished everything, the execution of everything inside a fun function. All right. So I think you got the understanding. So thank you so much for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video. So in the next video we will be learning something more, and more advanced. I think in the previous videos I have explored a lot of concepts like promise, fetch API, and other basic concepts as well. So if you haven't watched those videos, I will be adding the link into the description, so you should go through the whole playlist which I have uploaded till now. At least 29 videos I have uploaded of JavaScript, and about 20 videos of HTML and CSS, and all those videos are really helpful for you. Why? Because those are just professional, so everyone can able to understand, and everyone can able to learn those special things which I have learned so far. So really important to learn. So once again, thanks for watching. So see you in the next video.